And we are live on air. It is Sunday, it is just gone 8 o'clock, and it's time for some Doctor Who, because every Sunday is a Doctor Who day. And tonight, we are going to be doing the... Oh, God, here we go again, technical difficulties. That's exactly right. It wouldn't be Doctor Who day without technical difficulties. But yeah, we're doing the 5th Doctor episode, Enlightenment, and we are doing the special edition version. There's a couple of reasons for this, but before we get to that, good evening, Chris. How's it going?
All good here, mate.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing not too bad. Not too bad. I'm enjoying. I've been enjoying my weekend, and I'm looking forward to tonight. As I look forward to every Doctor Who night, but I'm looking forward to this one for different reasons.
I haven't actually seen the special edition of this before because I had to buy it for tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go right way back and talk about why doing Enlightenment the special edition as opposed to the original Enlightenment, and why Enlightenment first. Because Enlightenment is the third part of what is called the Black Guardian trilogy. So we're missing the first two parts. We're missing Modern Undead and Terminus. And there's a reason. There is a reason for that. So this is the Modern Undead introduces the character of Turlo, and it's in that story he makes a contract with the Black Guardian where he is under contract to kill the Doctor. He becomes an assassin for the Black Guardian. Now, why are we missing the first two stories? The reason being is that we will cover at some point Modern Undead and Terminus, but the reason why I thought it was a good idea to do the special edition of Enlightenment was that it was good to see a classic era Doctor Who done on a modern day standard. So, in other words, they've taken Doctor Who from the 80s, and the special edition has been completely re-edited, and it's been edited into a movie version length of the show, and it's been had all the visual effects upgraded. Now, it's not all successful. Some of the visual effects don't actually work for me, and I'll tell you why when we get there to those visual effects. But let's go back before, because if you want to join in with us, because we're going to be doing the review, reaction, watch along, whatever the hell you want to call it. There's the ice cream van. Piss off. So you've got time to queue up Enlightenment if you want to join in with us. Going back to Modern Undead, though, the reason why I wanted to skip Modern Undead is because, to be honest with you, my impression of Modern Undead is that it's a skippable kind of story. Now, we will cover it at some point, but I think it's kind of a downbeat story in terms of, and again, it's worth re-examining it. But for me, I find Modern Undead to be a story that's fueled by technobabble, and it's not technobabble you can figure out. It's not something that I could present you with, and you go, all right, okay, I can work out what's going on here. You couldn't, unless you read the script, you wouldn't know. So, anyway, let's talk about Modern Undead before we get started, Chris. Do you remember Modern Undead?
It's been a while since I've watched them. I do know the stories. I think Terminus is the one I know best out of the three.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, the mythology behind Modern Undead is kind of based on the mythology of the Flying Dutchman.
Right.
That these are sailors trapped aboard a ship, and they have to sail through eternity. They cannot leave the ship. They are forever trapped for all of time. And the idea is that these, for Mordrin, he has gone to Gallifrey, he has stolen a machine that he can use to regenerate, that enables regeneration, and he's going to use it to commit suicide. Basically, that's the story of the thing. It's really the villain is considering the title of because the title of the show, Mordred Undead, is a great title. Problem is, when you do finally meet Mordred, he's kind of this beige, lavender, pink kind of guy with a spaghetti head that really his entire purpose is to benevolently die. It doesn't make for a great villain, and it doesn't make for great storytelling. Plus, again, the technobabble that is in the show is stuff. There's stuff like, for example, Turlo. The Doctor tells Turlo that the TARDIS can't take off, and Turlo says to the Doctor, "Well, do you think that could be because the signal is deriving the warp ellipse, and we're stuck in the outer?" And it's like, you couldn't possibly work that out. You couldn't possibly. It's not the same as, you know how in Star Trek: The Next Generation, where you get all good things. So in All Good Things, they have the technobabble, and they have this chat about anti-time. And Data mentions that anti-time is analogous to antimatter. So matter versus antimatter cancel each other out. So time and anti-time collide, they cancel each other out. The audience can follow that along. In Mordred Undead, you can't. It's not possible. And things pop up in Mordred Undead whereby the Doctor will go, right then, we can take off now, and then an alert will happen on the console. You'll run over and you press and you go, oh no, this technobabble thing has just happened. And it's not plot-driven drama that fuels it. And there's a lot of running about. There is a lot of, and I think after you've watched it a few times, you kind of get the impression that these people are idiots. You know, nobody's listening to the Doctor, and he's kind of stuck in the middle. Like he's telling people, look, stay in the TARDIS. Don't leave the TARDIS. Guess what they do?
This one,
yeah, I mean that's kind of the basically the first 3 episodes of Mordred Undead. It's something that we've got to cover again because it deals with the Brigadier coming back. It does have some good stuff in it. I'm shitting all over this. I really apologize to anybody who loved this episode, but there is some good stuff in Mordred Undead. It's just it needs to be redone. Terminus, then we get to Terminus, and Terminus is another mythology-based episode, and that is pretty much, it's about the ship of the dead, and for me the big, let's talk about Terminus in a different sort of term here. Mordred Undead is a very sort of location heavy. It's got some beautiful sets. Mordred Undead has some of the most beautiful sets in Doctor Who. A very Art Deco style futurism. Whereas you get to Terminus, and Terminus I think is using leftover sets from Earthshock. I think they've been redone, repainted, and whatnot. It looks quite good. There's a lot of black curtain stuff going on. So it's a much more interesting and much more fun story. And out of the Black Guardian trilogy, I'd probably say Terminus was the most fun. Again, it takes things out. The problem is that Mordred Undead doesn't really follow the mythology enough for it to be, oh, this worked well. Whereas I think with Terminus follows the mythology a little bit too literally, whereby you've got the Hounds of Hell guarding the gate, and in Terminus it's like, oh, that's a big giant dog. That's what you've got there, isn't it? So, and well, I mean, you said you know Terminus are better out of the 3. What are your thoughts on Terminus before we go?
Well, when I say I know it better out of the 3. Well, I kind of know I remember what happens. I remember it's Nissa's last episode.
Yes.
As you say, you know, if the Spaces is in like the Ship of the Dead.
Yeah,
Yeah, from what I remember of it, it is it looks like they're on a spaceship. It's all put together well, and it probably is the most Doctory episode out of the three of them.
yeah. Well, I mean, what I like with Terminus. So just use the big thing with Terminus. Terminus looks better before the special edition, and that's not shitting over the people that worked on the special edition. It's just there's something really Ridley Scott about the way that they did the effects for the original Terminus. Whereas the special edition, it kind of went a bit too CG heavy, and they weren't replacing bad shots with impressive new ones. They were exchanging a bad shot for a bad shot,
All right.
and the bad shot they were replacing was better than the bad shot they replaced it with. And again, it's just the fact that what they replaced it with looked very CG. I mean, later on we can have a look at that some of the things on YouTube if you want. But so why do Enlightenment? Because out of the three, Enlightenment is the one that is most like a motion picture. There's a lot of film shot for Enlightenment. The sets look amazing. I mean, but even by today's standards of Doctor Who, the sets look great. They haven't overlit anything. The power is taken down. The TARDIS looks the best it's ever looked. Certainly in terms of the 70s console.
Does it look as good as Peter Cushing's TARDIS though?
From the inside, yeah. From the outside, no. But again, it's the TYJ Mark 1, so I can't shit on it because it is the TARDIS that I grew up with. So the boxes anyway. It's got the shit console, unfortunately, but the interior look is lit as the TARDIS should have been lit to begin with. And you're going to see that. Now, again, they've brought in Rob Seminoff to do the CGI effects for Enlightenment. And again, not all the effects work. I'll talk about those effects when it happens. So you can actually see what it is and why I think what they could do to change it and improve upon it. But this is really, the costumes look great in this. The acting is good. This is just past Nissa's last episode, so it's literally following straight on. It's a little bit of a problem with the JNT years, this part of his storytelling, because he decided that continuity was going to flow from one episode to the other, to the other, to the other. There's no break, which sounds like a good idea until you think, well, wait a minute, what if somebody's never watched the previous two? And I think this one makes a good example of it, because you really don't need to know that much about the previous two stories to enjoy this one, I think. I think this one does a good job. It's directed by Fiona Cummins, and she originally done Castrovalva, which doesn't fill you with a great deal of yay. Is probably the best way to put it. But she's a good director, and this is what happens when even if you don't like Castrovalva for the same reasons that I don't like Castrovalva, I think you can still acknowledge it as this is well directed. Whereas with Enlightenment here, this is a good story. This is a really out of the box thinking story. It introduces some good villains. We've talked about previously about villains coming back that we'd like to see. And I think these are villains that we would like to see again. And it's not just in the guise of the Guardians, but in the guise of the Ephemeral, not the Ephemerals, the Eternals. So that's pretty much why I want to do Enlightenment as well, is because it's the most modern looking, particularly the special edition, because the special edition, again, it's been re-edited, so there's small cuts here or there with the dialogue, which sharpen it up, which it shortens it down a little bit, but sharpens it right up. And it's the most modern feeling, I think. The music is still the same. What was that?
I didn't say anything. I think it was,
Feedback.
yeah, feedback.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So the music is still the same. Unfortunately, that is the big why they do this, whereby they replace everything else but leave the music. I don't understand that. What's your thoughts on it, Chris? What's your thoughts on remastering and special editioning like this?
I the DVD in to make sure it works, and I was quite surprised to see they put it into 16:9. Um, I like it. I think the first time I noticed something like this was when I watched the Five Doctors, and at the end, the theme tune,
I've just lost audio.
the 70s theme.
Say again.
Still hear me? I like the way the Five Doctors. Am I still breaking?
No, you're good now.
Hey, I like the way in the Five Doctors when they did the music in that on the special edition. It starts off with the original Derbyshire version, and then halfway through, and it goes into the middle eight. It cranks into Peter House. Now I've got a 5.1 surround system, and it goes from front and centre to fill in the room. I like it when they do that. I'm not so worried about them rescoring it, as long as they tidy it up and make it work for stereo for me.
So, I believe this one's in 5.1 surround. The special edition. Let me just check. It was on the back of the box, I think. Special edition 5.1 surround sound. Yeah. So they've redone the surround. So, but my point is that if you're going to do a special edition like this, what you're about to see, is that if you're going to improve the edit, if you're going to improve how it's been, because it's been recut and it's been redone, it's had the visual effects redone. If you're going to do that to it visually, surely you need to take care of the audio as well. I mean, it's not all about the visuals. I mean, there are people who are visually impaired, who still like Doctor Who and are still gonna, want this version, and I still would like to have a more clarity with the audio, and better audio quality as far as I'm concerned. So I think, for me personally, I would like to see what would happen if we talked about this briefly last week when we were talking about the Murray Gold era, but I would like to have had somebody just bring somebody in just to take it away from the very synth feel of it, because let me just munch some popcorn here. There's a very Blade Runner-esque sound that runs from that part of the 80s. And it's all due to the fact that they're relying on one person with a synthesizer to take care of the music, as opposed to having an actual band. Whereas I think if you're going to re-edit and redo the story, I'm pretty sure you could get somebody. There's bound to be Doctor Who fans that work with musical instruments that will be willing to not so much donate their time, but at least work for pretty cheap if they know that what they're going to do is to redo a classic episode.
We'll revisit this part of the conversation after I've seen the special edition. I'll be able to see how the music works or don't, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But it's for me, it's just a small. If you're gonna correct the visuals, you need to correct the audio as well. That for me is what I think. I think that's pretty much it. I think we've got it all covered, really. Again, we're gonna go straight into this now. There is an introduction at the start of this with Fiona Cummins, where she does a little explanation. So we'll get into that. But here we go. This is Peter Davison, Enlightenment Special Edition, and I'm ready to go. If you are ready, Chris.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, play. There she is. Yes, you are. She did.
In 1983. It was the end of the 20th.
So, interesting note. You got Keith Barron there playing the character. You just seen him briefly playing the character Striker. When they made this show originally, this show was bumped because they were going to do an episode called Space Whale, and they decided to strike that story. And I believe the only time they ever did Space Whale actually was in the Matt Smith episode Beast Below. So it took a while to get there. But with this, Keith Barron is playing Striker there. That part was originally rehearsed with, and I mean it's how can I put this? It would have been interesting to see because the person that originally had the part was the late and wonderfully missed Peter Sallis, who everybody would have known is the voice of Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
Summer One.
Yeah. To British audiences, yeah, he'd have been Clegg, yeah. But for him to be replaced with Keith Barron, not a bad choice because Keith Barron does a really good job. Interestingly, they chose two people that were well known from sitcoms, though. Love this tune. Love it. I'm gonna put some popcorn stuck in my teeth. It looks good as well, doesn't it? Even though it's basic, it's simple. Enlightenment by Barbara Clegg. It's basic, it's simple, gets to the point. Now this is the interior of the TARDIS. Turlo is playing chess with Tegan. This is how it should be lit. Look at that.
Yeah, that is good.
But it looks good because even that shite console with the lights on it is popping, even though you know that there's an intensity to that time rotor, which is absent when it's all just whitewashed out. That's just some gorgeous lighting. I think this is probably the best lighting that console room has ever seen.
That's it, of course, a message. Turn up the power.
I got the power. Yeah, brand new visual effect insert there with the TARDIS. So you're gonna see now the. So I like the TARDIS. I'm not so keen on the bombardment effect. I think it looks two-dimensional. And this here is the new effect with the White Guardian.
I can't hear you.
So my only problem with this visual effect here is that there's no reactive lighting on the set. And I think it needs that because you're not seeing the set being affected. There's this glow coming off him, but it's not affecting the set.
Yeah, we saw that with something else the light coming in from the viewer screen.
What was that, Chris? That was really garbled.
Sorry, mate. Did we not see that on something else as well? Where they had lit round the edge of the view screen.
Oh yeah, yes. That was on when they done the re-edition of Castrovalva. They done a new purplish nebula effect on the screen, but didn't put any light in on to react with the set.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, but this, I mean, there is a blank plate shot, and I didn't say that with the BBC. They probably had the originals there anyway. But I mean, you'd have to sort of remodel that set just so you can bomb some light onto it, just so you can brighten it up. You don't have to have rebuild the physical set, but yeah, without that reactive light on it, it just looks like an effect composited on top of another effect. It looks like it's stuck on it as opposed to being part of the theme. It still looks good. I'm not going to knock it. Rob Semenoff had 4 months to do all the effects for this special edition. That's all he was given. There are superfluous ones like adding that glow to the TARDIS light. I'm not sure it needs it.
Look at the state of them Randalls.
I know. Yeah, the whole state of it is. But look how small the set has become as well. Like last week we watched the Twice Upon a Time, and look how big that unopened that set was and what it's been reduced to.
Yeah, I can't believe how dirty they are.
I know. Yeah. It's amazing that the people who put the set. I guess this is due to the fact that the people who work on these sets, not all of them care that much about the show because they work on other shows as well. So it's a case of.
Yeah, but even so, if you was directing, wouldn't you say, "Hang on a minute, look at the state of that"?
I mean, yeah, but you've got to look at it like the BBC at this point didn't really have the time when it was like get the sets out, put them together, get filming. You're right though. No, I mean you're absolutely right. I would have gone nuts. I would have not been happy. But that aside, we're about to move into an area now whereby they are using, and again, we talk about this quite often about how well BBC does period set pieces. These ship sets are just really beautifully done, and the lighting is cracking. Again, most of this is shot. There's a lot of this shot on film. But again, this is the special edition version. The DVD does come with the original version as well, so you can see it for what it is. I think they made a good choice for the visual effects. I think some of the visual effects are overdone, but I think where they got it right, they got it absolutely spot on. Well, look how good that looks like that. Drop the lightning down, make it a nice warm glow. Again, I don't want to shit on Rob because I know how up against it he was to do this. But if you can't do that effect and have it blend with the original set properly, don't do it. He's an idiot. That's who he is. And more popcorn. This is a cat. But I mean, for Doctor Who for the 1980s, the lighting on this is actually unheard of. I mean, Fiona Cummings was actually taking a bit of a shot here. Normally, an 80s Doctor Who episode kind of looks like it was lit by Top of the Pops. That's not how you spell it. You just have a quick look here. I'm just checking out the cast here. Because one of the cast members, I'm sure he's like in EastEnders or something. Is it Collier?
Well, that's when it's filming.
I mean it's. Wow. Okay, green shell. Okay, that's not him. Still about him there. Jackson. There we go. That's Tony Conter.
He's here, lads. The doctor's aboard.
The Legend of Robin Hood.
What an expecting news. That's what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, he's EastEnders. He's Roy in EastEnders.
I mean, we've been living on a banana tax since we come aboard.
There we go.
It's a proper throne.
I unfortunately knew that.
Doctor, of course. Ship's cook.
I do like that. That's it's a nice little moment with Turlo there. And of course Tegan. Tegan is my favourite companion. I mean, I liken Tegan to Rose in some in some ways. The big difference between her and Rose, though, is that Rose wants to be there and Tegan doesn't.
Where are you?
Yeah, I like Tegan as well. Second only to Sarah Jane for me.
Oh, yeah. For me, though, I put her above Sarah Jane, mainly because, again, she doesn't like being there. She got there entirely by accident, and she doesn't care. She just all she wants to do is go home.
Lads. Farley, Wade, Jenkins, Rogan, and that one's Potter. How you doing? We all come aboard at the same time. What'd you ask? Curious.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's one of those characters. I would love to bring Tegan back in the Doctor Who. I would love to have her back, just because I know the first things out of my mouth would be like, shit. There would just be a barrage of abuse. Can you imagine if she met Davros? I'd love to see that. That would. You wouldn't know what to do.
I just imagine her meeting the current Doctor.
It'd be brilliant. It'd be fantastic. There's so many good things, and particularly to meet an older Tegan as well.
Yeah.
You know, so someone that's been weathered by the world and a little bit embittered. You know, can you imagine this embittered? Like she doesn't have time for the aliens now.
Yeah, he played Ray in EastEnders.
Pardon?
He played. Is his name Ray in EastEnders?
Roy.
Roy,
Yeah.
one that sold the cars.
Yes. Again, it's sad that we know that, but there we are.
Well, actually, I know him first as a bartender in an episode of The Professionals.
Yeah. No, the guy there playing the first officer, he is really good in this. So he's playing an Eternal, and I'm gonna have to. Let me find this. I want to find out who he is. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one.
You would try to run away.
Because James McClure.
Oh, that was our race now. Rented a fire sheep was the old America. Yeah, crossed the Atlantic in 17 days, she did. On the flight. Slim bow.
That can't be it, surely.
Oh, yeah. Or a woman cutting a packet sail. None of your flying.
So,
Little bit of Dutch courage, eh? Now that's no good for a green hand. And it's no good for us older hands either. And you've got to keep a clear head if you go.
according to this, he's only ever done 4 things.
I will watch you down on the deck from the eye of the cross trees. Splat. And you keep hold of those shrouds to make sure you get the lifeline under your feet. You use your eyes and check that rigging before you go up there. Yeah. No boy pig can never become a sailor. Did go look along?
But I think the lighting in this is done extremely well. I think the makeup is done well. Even like, if you look at the sailors there, the sailors look like they're weathered. They've all got a bit of a red glow to them. And the officers don't, which is it's brilliant. Somebody's actually thought about it. You know, they look like they're weathered.
What are you doing?
You just don't listen, particularly after Terminus.
White Guardian may come.
So confused.
Well, tell me everything you know.
Something must not win the race. Tell the
There we go.
doctors. We're gonna
Take
take
my coffee.
Where's that it?
Now you'll notice in this one as well, Peter Davison has astounding sideburns. They are well sculpted sideburns. Don't know why he decided that, but they sort of appeared. I think they appeared in Terminus.
They're almost Star Trek Starfleet Regulation 20s.
They're right out here. There.
I'm the doctor. How many percent my vote?
I love the Eternals in this. It's like having a group of Q.
Oh, they keep themselves to themselves. He said, oh, it's on the captain.
And what I like about them being this sort of Q-like species is that they're not even the most powerful species.
So where the ship's going? I remember. For the race, I mean, that's what matters. Yes. Where are we racing to? Where's the finish? Yeah, she flows. That's what we've been waiting for. Wind's bigger than the pressure.
Again, this is all done with camera work. There's no gimbals. This is just the people who work the cameras know what they're doing with the camera work to sell you on the idea that they're on a rocking ship.
First made this marriage, but I believe it's Tegan. Calendar is my right hand man. Is that a big I must apologize for this rather abrupt end. Council lady, sir.
So, Mr. Mariner,
Okay. Us.
he's done Poirot and Miami Vice. Walker, Texas Ranger.
See you later.
A hell of a change from Doctor Who.
Just slightly.
Pressure.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at the
I'm keeping it clear in. And don't you worry, I'll look after you. You're right then.
connections.
Right.
Let me just have a quick look here. So, believe it or not, this episode was actually referenced in another episode of Doctor Who called the Shakespeare Code. This mentions the Carrionite banishment by the Eternals. Yeah, the last appearance of the White Guardian and the Black Guardian.
Yeah, they should definitely have brought them back by now.
Yeah, I mean they are stories. They're good villains because they're above everybody else. So again, it's like battling Q, and they can do interesting things with the Doctor that otherwise can't be done. Oh, I hate terrible keyboard tapping. Bugs the piss out of me every time. There's no excuse for it. Again, these newly inserted effect shots. They just when they work, they really add to it.
They have their maritime history slowly. Just like race such. They're trying to achieve. Right.
So you notice that they changed that musical interlude there to match the CGI. That's what you're. Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, and Mark Strickson all disliked the dynamic that had developed between the Doctor and Tegan and Turlough, with Davison wondering why the Doctor would travel with a pair that was often portrayed in such disagreeable light. Jonathan Turner accepted their criticism and encouraged them to work together to improve the characterizations. I get where he's coming from. That it's disagreeable, but I think Tegan has a good argument for not liking him being there, in that she just this isn't her at all.
There's no need to whisper, Doctor. When your companion is free to come and go to wish to our guests, not our prisoners.
Mark Strickson was Turlough. I mean, I don't know. He was kind of contracted to kill the Doctor, so he was left with what does he do kind of thing. This is the only Doctor Who story to date with both written and directed by women. Okay. Nigel Hawthorne and Michael Jason were considered for Jackson.
There's Turlough's another character that would make a brief comeback as well.
Yeah. I gotta be honest. I'm not. I never ever bought into Turlough being a schoolboy. I never did. Just like he doesn't look like a schoolboy.
If he does, he was kept down many years.
Yeah. So according to this, local boy Donald Houston was asked to play Captain Striker as well. That'd have been interesting. Literally last week, his brother Glyn Houston passed away. Glyn Houston was also in Doctor Who in two different stories. Both of them from Ton of Handle. Well, let's not go there. You see, now why would you replace the original shot with a CG shot and then go back to the original RSO? I don't get it.
Contemporary 17th century Spanish. Anything out of here.
So the other person that was considered for the role of Striker was Richard Griffiths. That would have been good. So the interior sets for the ships weren't specifically built for the program, but were pulled from stock from various prop warehouses. And they've done a bloody good job on it.
Yeah, good.
Doesn't seem to do them any harm.
The newspaper found by the Doctor was a reprint of the Times from September 1901.
It seems familiar.
All the food and the drink served in the show was real.
Somebody's been rummaging around in my memories.
They have. Come on. Why are you
Yeah, Mike Kelt was shocked by the dilapidated state of the TARDIS console prop. I was worried about damaging it while filming the explosion, and asked Jonathan Turner if he could replace it. I was told there was no money available.
living, breathing flesh and blood? You are not. You are a time dweller. You travel. You are a time lord. Over time. Are they lords and such small? And where do you function? Eternity. Marker boy, sir, coming up on the starboard bow. The endless waits of eternity.
So the original story name for the story was called The Enlightenment. I love these costumes. These spacesuit costumes are absolutely fantastic. Probably the best ones they've ever done in Doctor Who. Even today, I don't think they've done better. I'm not so sold on the colour schemes, but the actual design of those costumes is very good. Well, popcorn.
Yeah, I mean the helmets on them suits certainly do look believable.
I love the backpack as well. It's this triangular shaped backpack with a cutout of it, so you can still lift your head up. And I don't know if it's the way it was designed, but there appears to be two notches on the backpack and two notches on the helmet, which looks like should be able to attach pipes between the two. You don't have to, but it looks like that. Maybe that's what they were intended to do, but it's still. They did very good looking suits.
Stand by me now. I've got to call you. We've got to chuck the rock over the side. Boys, they're never going off the stand by to short the set. And the one off place. Stand by to short the set.
Again, this is the effects in this now. Even the special edition is 10 years old, so I'm not going to jump on Rob for doing these effects, like this forward window. Because again, some of these really work very, very well. I'm comparing these to effects of the time though. So these sort of ship effects, I'm comparing to, you know, the Voyage of the Damned.
Yeah, that looks pretty good coming in for a fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm comparing them to. I'm comparing them to things all about the same era. Because there's a lot more shots here, and it's all being, unlike with Voyage of the Damned, which is done by a team of people, this is being redone by one person.
But worth risking to win. We are determined. And winner takes all. Let us see who's next around the map. Features and the back of the neck.
Atlas.
Must stay with me. I want the right guy. Said winner takes all. Race. Too far. Bad luck.
Know what you could say? The ship and its crew has just been destroyed.
We have a clear lead.
That's what I like about these characters. Like, from their standards, we are so far beneath them that they don't even get it. They don't even understand it. So it's like, how could you possibly care if one another die? Because you are so fine, a blip in reality. Why does that even matter? I mean, again, we had the conversation with Keith Barron talking to the doctor, and he was like, you're a time lord. You travel. You're a lord of time. How can you exist in such a small, finite reality? And if we look at the doctor is so far above us, then they're so far above the doctor. Then how do we appear to the Eternals?
Insect, probably.
What is against the rules?
I think it's a really good way of illustrating it.
Chose the ship. Group selected. I mean, it's not just to sail the ships, is it?
Let me have a quick.
You need minds. Human minds. Human. Ephemeral then. Any planet, any galaxy, any time. Minds of living beings you depend on. And so to think we depend upon the ephemeral mind with all our power, our technology. I wonder where you got it from. All your technology. Mind you, being Earth beings from 19th century England with the Athens of Pericles from the Qin dynasty, I suppose you could just as easily pick the minds of more advanced beings from other galaxies. Correct. Parasites. That's what Eternals are. You feed on living minds. You use them as blueprints. As diversion.
I mean, this part of the story now, you can really see just how much Peter Davison has settled into the role.
Entertainment. Through ephemeral time.
Certainly come on a bit from his opening bit in Castrovalva.
Oh yeah, big time. I think it's a good performance of him as well. I think it's really. He's worked out what to do with the Doctor, and I find it to be sort of this is the very sort of him being the most Doctor-ish.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean about the music.
Yeah, it's it could be better.
A jolly little hornpipe on a Casio keyboard. Not winning.
All aboard are lost. Don't even care.
We're not lost. They transfer. Transfer home. The crew.
You don't mean the crew at all, do you? You mean the officers? Things like you. What? What happened to the crew? Were they all killed?
Some sexual lines.
Human beings, you mean?
Whatever you wish to call them. And on this ship, at least, they are treated well.
Well, I happen to think that human lives are just as valuable as yours. I happen to be a human being, but you're different.
I like this character story arc. I'm not so sold on how it turns out for him. There he is. Valentine Sayal, just one of the best voices.
Yes. Well, they can make anything they see in your mind. That's how this ship was made, out of the minds of the crew.
I think if I was going to bring back the Black Guardian, I'd want him to be played by Peter Cullen.
Oh yeah. There's a voice that would work.
Peter Cullen or Kevin Conroy?
So what makes him tick?
Mine's empty, used up.
I'm picking between Optimus Prime or Batman. I mean, it's...
I got hold of a Batman film the other day that I couldn't resist because of the title of it. It's a new one, not Kevin Conroy, but it's called Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could be fun, but I mean, I remember watching Batman versus Scooby-Doo. So... The Adam West ones are good. The Returns of the Caped Crusader. I particularly like the Two-Face one with William Shatner. I think Shatner does a brilliant job in it. But you've got to love the Adam West series to sort of love those sort of cartoons.
We're taking Tegan back to the TARDIS.
Yeah, Keith Barnes' performance in this is so sterile, and then when he lets a little bit of emotion out, just creepy. It's like when Brent Spiner would do Law.
Can't it just disappear?
Do you reckon he played any duty on that wine he's drinking?
No, he's doing great.
Resistance is futile.
Oh, he's a ball.
Down with the TARDIS. Go find her. I'm sorry.
Now, it's worth pointing out as well that Captain Rack in this is played by Linda Barron. No relation to Keith. Is it my popcorn? Because Linda Barron is probably best known for playing Nurse Gladys Emanuel.
Yes.
Real name Lillian Barron. But why she's known as Linda, I have no idea.
Much of your concern or your mind are aware of that. Picture was a dream. On your ship. Adrenaline is the most effective energy. Your own fear. Where have you touched Tegan? Perhaps you will get it right. Turn over. Have the key to the round robin. Yes.
I really like the way this has been re-edited. It's very snappy, very sharp. Not all of it's been re-edited. Some of it's still the same way as it was before, but this works. Again, I just love those suits.
It's like beautiful. It's in your mind, you find it. You will be with us in a moment.
On deck, you will have an interesting view of our competitors. Very helpful to decide which one is the saboteur. What are you competing for? I mean, the whole point of a race is to win something. What's the prize? Wisdom, which knows all things.
The only thing that's really wrong here with Peter Davison's performance is literally when he puts the helmet on, you can only see like this much of his face, and it literally it like knocks like 20 years off him. He literally looks like a 6-year-old in a spacesuit. Very cherub looking. I mean, how good does this look? This is a BBC sci-fi drama series from 1983. It's just gorgeous. That shot, not so much. That's a bad effect shot. You can actually see the garbage mat.
You shot them. Who gets up?
But those suits work today. I mean, I'd love to have one of those to pop back up in Doctor Who. Look how good this film looks.
It does look good.
Now, the first time they shot the scene where Turner goes overboard, he was actually on wires and was going to fly out. And the city bugger, Mark Strickson, actually jumped. So when he jumped, he went up and out and then down, and the wire snapped, and he dropped 20 feet and went into the splits.
Ouch.
And was injured for the rest of the. You see, this is what I'm about here. That shot there of him netting Turlo, it's not really an improvement over the original. You know, yeah, you can look at the original and go, oh, yeah, the original looks naff. Is that better?
It wasn't really.
I mean, yeah, I think you've got to make a decision, you know, as to whether or not you know. When is it not better and when to replace a shot? Again, I don't want to have a go at Rob's work because I know how much limited time he had. And again, we're talking about effect shots from 10 years ago.
Just what I've been waiting for.
No budget, one person, and that's about it.
Staggering to look.
Hey, have us greeting him. It's my present. Deliver it. And these. But first, the invitation to come.
Message.
Thank you. Where's the doctor? Good.
It's so well shot, this. And again, this was shot single camera as well. So they've done, you know, they've done the A shots, B shots, the 2 shots. They've done the safety.
That's the way it will remain until I find out exactly what's going on here.
But the lighting is fantastic for it. Okay, because it stands to testament of people knowing their jobs.
We have received an invitation from Captain Rack. Reception aboard the Buccaneer. And delivered by hand. I'm overwhelmed. You will of course be natural. Then we must continue no longer. Collect her load.
Can't we go?
Then I will escort it with the captain. I shall convey our acceptance to Captain Rack.
The campus pirates, almost. I say almost because I realised this is following on from Terminus. And those pirates are space pirates from a glam rock band. God, it's like Starship Invaded. Giant inflatable helmets. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
They're like that. They're like that shape as well. They're walking into a ship. There we go.
Yes. Same. Very determined too.
I never got what they did with Mark Strickson's eyebrows. It's like they brushed them all.
With trouble.
Very strange looking.
It's only a small change though, isn't it? Really, I mean, I know his hair is. I'm not sure if his hair was actually that copper or whether they dyed it that way. Because I've seen him like he's much more blonde in his hair.
I suppose as you get older, I mean, if you Steve Davis, the snooker player, not ginger anymore. He sort of, I know he's grey now, but he's went less red as he got older.
Yeah, but I mean, he's very copper in this, isn't he?
Yeah.
Take it more, sir.
Take them all out first. Down the hatches.
Maybe ship's stealing.
That pirate there, the black fella, ain't he the Shadow from Only Fools and Horses?
He's I know he was a stage actor. I'm gonna have to check. Oh, I wish I could spell. Oh, it's not the one I'm looking for. I'm trying to think which one he is. Is he the first officer, James McClure? Jackson?
You done.
Improved my chance.
Especially to anyone who challenges Captain Rack on the Buccaneer. What? Have you forgotten the Greek who challenged Rack ship?
He has to be James McClure.
The same thing happened to us.
That's Lee John I'm looking at.
I have no idea. Lee who?
Lee John, Lee with an extra E on it.
Okay. Yeah, some of these effect shots, when they've done well, they've done very, very nice. It's just, I think they need to sort of bring it in or get more people on board. But the costumes look fantastic. The sets look amazing.
Lastly, cross-section. Masters have said, it's just to get
I think it's probably the most feminine they've ever made Tegan look as well. They always stuck her in shorts or because she started off with, with the sort of very businesswoman look for the stewardess, and she's always had the ballsy attitude. So this is probably the most feminine that she's looked in the entire show. Big giant lever.
also a term.
No, it's not. It's a completely different actor. They do look similar.
Yeah.
Well, that guy's not even an actor. He's a musician.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was a musician from Images.
Your companion is a very beautiful woman. Confusion in her mind is liberating.
Is it? Look, I need to find Dirk. Are you still satisfied?
I really do like his performance in this. Mr. Marana, his performance in this is really good. It's like this guy that suddenly he's touching upon humanity, but he doesn't quite get it, and he doesn't quite. He's interested. He's fascinated. He wants more. The most pointless effect in the entire thing. It's literally just an overlay.
Is afraid.
Let's chop
It does absolutely nothing for it.
Grid room, iron chip. See his mind quite clearly.
There are some odd replacements in this.
Danger. The boy's in danger. It's open to space. It's a vacuum machine. Look after TV.
Like, why would you replace or put a NAF effect over the top of another NAF effect? It's not a good idea. So, you know, he's CG'd in that sign above the door. It's only quick. I don't get. These are effects for effects' sake now. I like the additive for the Black Guardian's dissolve, but the whole swirly effect that they added, it's not needed. The fact that they added the glow to the thing was enough. Very Patrick Troughton thing to do.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing there. You beat me to it.
Absolutely, I mean, that's you can see who his doctor was. And there's little moments like that bleed through.
I thought you were taking to meet someone. I was, but they seem to have gone. Shall we return to the party?
As Janet Fielding called this, the Battle of the Cleavage.
Well, Linda Barron is 67% clean.
You will remain broken in time till I have finished.
Yeah, I just don't buy him as a schoolboy. I'm sorry. Even late college, I could accept. Like, what is the point of that effect?
Cosmic plug on, mate.
She said this place contains.
Oh,
Part of the iron drive system. I think the room may open to peace. Better reception. Rack also used this place to receive something quite different. You know what that is?
It's a CGI insert shot.
Its functions that were massive.
See, for something like that, I would have built a model. I would have built a physical model for that.
Rack only connects. She must have something.
You could add CGI to it, but I would have built I would have built a physical model. I think I would have done the same sort of thing for the TARDIS sets though, for where it, like in Terminus, where the TARDIS walls break down.
Preachers, the Greek version to be destroyed. Rack made good glass was the present she must have done. And then she worked the same ship with David. So,
Again, it's not difficult to remake those sets and to remake, particularly if you're doing it as a scale model.
Yeah, it's just they're having the time and inclination to do it, I suppose, mate.
Well, again, look, I could have that eye shot. I could have rebuilt that as a model about this big and shot it, and it would have taken me 2 days.
stop Rack.
And I'm not even that. I think I could have done it in 8 hours, to be honest with you.
Don't you trust them? Creatures of vast power. Disaster.
but the other ships you can't stop.
Because you're really only talking about a single angle shot. You're not looking at having this blend with another shot. So it's literally, you just shoot this and it's looking up at this.
Have you heard of time standing still? Expression, it means you to meet them, but they seem to go. I'd like to rejoin the
There's
party.
something about Linda Barron, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, she's always a feisty person anyway.
I'll see you in
I mean, she knew she made a career off her how can I put it? Off her physical form then.
I was worried.
Her buxomness.
Not one to pay the knocker tax.
Yeah.
I was concerned.
Thank you.
But she's playing this to the max as well. She's loving this. She's playing this as a pantomime pirate, and she's just going hell for leather.
Without you, I'm not to understand. What?
Yeah, you're right. She is. And 30 odd years later, Alan Cumming did the same thing as King James.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, totally. But I mean, like with these sorts of characters, it really, really works.
It does.
She's Captain Jack Sparrow before Jack Sparrow.
Just not. I want you
That's who. Yeah. I mean, she's got the campest pirate crew I've ever seen.
I found him coming out of the room. He's a spy. Saw him wandering around and followed him in. Followed him in? Why didn't you summon help? From where? When you found me, I was trying to apprehend him myself.
Spy.
But I'd hardly call it spy. No, his guests.
And you think freedom extends to a door marked danger?
Her delivery is sharp.
Spy.
Get ready.
Now,
I mean, send it back. Send more back to strike.
I think she hits such a good tone.
Check to see if you're prepared to send.
Like you know that what she's saying is
right, then push.
scripted, but she delivers it so well that you go, oh yeah, this is nonsense writing. This is over the top writing. I don't care.
But she's like even the kids program Come Outside. Exactly the same, everything she does.
Yeah, but I mean, she's like she's loving, she's lapping this up.
Oh yeah.
I think he needs to prove himself. I hope so.
And again, because she's playing an Eternal, she bounces off everybody really, really well. So you can kind of take her as a really serious, when she's gonna do something serious, you can take it as, she means what she's doing. But at the same time, she's very lovable.
Drink. My thanks, Detective.
Like you can believe she's dangerous, but you're still like,
For choosing.
there's a charm to it.
I wonder why.
I told you. I like to be on the winning side.
And you want a share of it,
Yes,
even though you're not sure what they are.
I'm sure the prize is a rich one.
Oh, it is. Enlightenment.
What for?
In every. When I have it. I
Just
have
that,
it
in
on
every way.
Everything conceivable, beginning to the end, will be clear to you.
It's like she's playing it at the sort of almost innocent level.
Strong.
Enlightenment. Whatever one becomes, I desire.
But her pronunciation is really clipped.
Come. See how I entertain you.
And I tell you what's really good here. What we're looking at here, we're looking at a back and forth between the studio and a film shot. And they've matched the lighting. If you look at the lighting in here, and lighting when they do the plank scene, the two are shot very differently, and yet they've managed to match the outside and the inside so that the lighting levels are the same, even though the lighting colour for the outside is blue and the inside is yellow.
Try explaining that when you're drunk.
Oh man, it's such a the people can learn lessons. This is why I like when we do original filming. Like, you know, you've well, you haven't met him, but you've seen my son, and I've been teaching him about how to do basic filming. And I've always said, like, you should learn how to do it without modern equipment, because doing it with modern equipment makes things easier. But if you can do it, any idiot can point a phone camera at something and use all the automatic settings, but that doesn't teach you anything. If you learn how to do it properly, then you'll, no matter what happens, you've got a good understanding of how it works.
Yeah.
And that's what you see here. You see Enlightenment being done by people who really give a shit and know exactly what it is that they're doing. Like, look at that set there. There's a spotlight on that shield on the wall. Like, look, if you look behind
You don't understand. I understand.
Lily,
The doctor's not.
Lily Barron there, you can see it spotlit on the back of the wall there.
Even a bird.
And it's just been picked out.
I'm on your side. I just wanted to share just some of the problems. You wanted it all. Mind is divided. It's hard to read sometimes. One thing is
Like, that key light is just smashing them from the side. Really, just...
speaking of women, bores me.
No, listen! The power outside the ion chamber. I heard the power that speaks to you. I heard it, and I know the voice. It speaks to me as well.
No, there's a big cut there between this version and the original version. And the reason being is that I guess that Fiona Cummins thought that the rest of the delivery in that scene, one, was unnecessary, and two, it kind of went downhill. The shadow.
Put it away. Sure, complete penalty.
Yeah, we're ramping up now to the climax for this episode, and it's not a bad way to go.
Movement. Getting on the edge. Fire sales. Those are faster than we are. Ship is level, but we're holding her. No. Going the wrong way around. She's holding level with us. She's moved in for the kill.
Open that door.
That's one of those shots that I wouldn't like to. I wouldn't like to do. He's essentially looking just above camera. And the reason why I don't like those shots is that it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's kind of like they got lazy eye. They can't quite see the camera. It just looks odd to me. I'd rather them look offside. That's a preference thing. I mean, you know. So yeah, I'm not fond of the eye on the ceiling CG shot, but something like this where the effect overlay from the original, because in the original she just looks like Holly. But I mean, yeah, all the costumes in this look good, all the sets in this look good. There's no need to do that effect. So you're about to see this effect here of it glowing on the floor and shattered pieces. It's actually reflective paint that they've taken this material, and there's a light shining off the camera, and it's sort of similar stuff to you get on safety jackets, but it's a paint, and it was incredibly expensive stuff. They would use it for everything in Doctor Who, for illuminating scenes, for effect shots. Like these days, you can buy a spray can and it'll cost you £9.99. Back then, though, it was like hundreds of pounds. But yeah, you can buy a spray can version of it today, and yeah.
Strike ships in existence.
Just in time. Fascinating.
Well, look how good this film footage looks.
Possibility? Not at all. Oh, well, Billy imagined it in space. I could have converted it into reality. Not so much.
Why didn't you?
Far more dependent on us than we are on them. Without us, they're empty nothings.
Yeah, some of those effect shots, they again, I don't rat and rob because it's a tough task. Again, 10 years ago as well. So many shots to get in, 4 months to do it. You had to build all the models as well. You couldn't just download them. You had to build them. Some of them are just downloads.
The TARDIS still functioning console blew up.
Oh, probably did it at work, but come on, that's underway. Just me.
Everybody hated that shit console. It blew up. Probably did it the world of good, but it couldn't have done any harm.
No, wait! I'm not having you think it's under your control. It isn't. Will control you.
You have no time left.
So, you're about to see something now. This is why. Here we go. So, the Doctor and Turlo just shoved two people out into space. No, they're Eternals, so I guess they're just going to return back to the original form. But the only time I've ever seen anything like that happens in Deep Breath. I've seen Colin Baker move out of the way and shove somebody, and they've gone into like molten stuff before, or an acid pit, I think it was. But really, that was just deliberate. Like, you know, Turlo and the Doctor just went, let's kill him.
Well, you know, the needs of the many, etc.
Yeah, I know, but like, there's this whole with modern Who as well. There's this whole thing of, the Doctor doesn't kill. Really? Are you kidding or what? So, I'm going to explain to you what's wrong with this shot, and then I'm going to show you what's wrong with this shot. So, they have just achieved enlightenment. They're about to put this orb on the desk, and it's about to light up bright, and they've inserted an effect over the top of it. Okay, here it comes. It starts to light up bright, and it takes the lid off. And look at that shot right there. Now, first of all, there's a couple of things I don't like. First of all, I can't look at the White Guardian and Black Guardian without seeing those damn things on their head. Look how stupid that bloody dove looks. The dope expression on his face. It's hard to not look at the act. It's hard to look at the actor in the face. Don't see that dope expression on that. It. Why would you do that? Right. So you've got this glow.
Guardian one looks men-
What was that?
At least the Black Guardian bird thing looks menacing.
Yeah, but it's not so pronounced because it's black. I mean, it still looks a little bit ridiculous. But the White Guardian's dove, it's got this duck. It's like.
I should have
Yeah.
took a picture.
I mean, so yeah, see that glow that they've inserted on that orb? Now, the reason why it doesn't work is because it doesn't affect the rest of the scene. So it's just stuck on over the top. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. I've got a light here, and I'm going to shine it into the camera lens, which is exactly what that's doing. Now, watch what happens to footage when you actually push light into a camera lens. Okay? So, that's exactly the same setup. See that?
Yeah.
Look at the difference. So I take it off, put it on. Take it off, put it on. It affects the entire image. What they've done with that sphere is that it only affects this part of the image. It only affects. See how it's only glowing where it is in the scene? Whereas if you do it like this, it glows over the entire frame. See, the light is still affecting this part of the frame up here, and over here, and down here. It affects it over the entire lot. So to only insert the effect over that one bit of the frame, it doesn't blend very well because it needs to be feathered out more. It's a composite problem, really. And again, I'm not sure why they inserted it. It's a pointless effect.
All this. Choice is yours.
I think I was just brightening it there.
Light destroys the dark. I think it will not go from
Tiga's just not looking impressed at all.
What I've said is true.
She's really like, I just gotta punch him in the nuts. He's like, no, it wasn't. It was the diamond in the choice at all. Yeah, bollocks.
His power does not diminish.
Don't get it. Look, we don't get a third encounter. We should.
Exist, he exists also.
We should look at that dead budgie on his head.
That's my bad, Harry.
That's gonna wait.
Yes, my planet. Why not?
And that's Enlightenment. So for a re-edit and a reshuffle, then I guess what are we at here? What's the time frame? Does it say? Have we got time index on here? Info. Hour and 13 minutes.
10 seconds.
Yeah, hour and 13 minutes. So that's not bad. So you can see how, I mean, if you take it at 22-minute snaps, there's about, I guess, about 6-7 minutes cut out of it. But no, you've seen it, Chris. What do you think?
I'm just enjoying the music at the moment.
You're welcome to.
Oh, it's the best one.
Yeah, and that middle eight is gorgeous.
And I've got it running through X amount of speakers. It's all behind me and everywhere here at the moment. They don't bleed into they don't over talk me, I suppose. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's as good a story as I remember. Camera work superb. The lighting superb. Nothing wrong with the acting or the actors themselves.
Yeah,
Talking about the music like we were beforehand,
yeah.
I was okay with the music throughout, apart from the stupid synthesized hornpipes. That was the only bit that stuck out to me, and that would have stuck out to me whether you'd have mentioned it or not.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's things that after seeing it in its entirety, I think of the special editions that I bought, I remember because I was actually on a forum with Rob when he was working on this, and he was putting up posts, that you couldn't really tell you what it was, but it was like, once the DVD had been released, he was like showing you like, this is a picture of my desktop and this is me rendering and stuff like that. So it was a case of, it was really good that he had done what he had done. I personally would have done things differently. And, like, for example, there's no reason why if you imagine that you're going to do more than one episode, you can create assets. So you can create model assets. For example, the TARDIS console room and the corridors is a cheap asset to recreate. Now it still costs money. There's no doubt here or there. You've got time to build models and things like that. But if you're going to do it for an episode, my personal go-to thing would be to do it for real and do it as a scaled version as opposed to doing it as a CG asset, because I don't really think there's not really an advantage in doing it in CG. It's got its place. It was kind of a go-to thing back then when people were going, right, we're going to do another special edition. What are we going to replace with CG now? And I think that's my issue with this episode, with this particular version, is that there are times when they replace CG shots over things that just don't need it. Like that great shot is one, like, what the hell are you doing? Unless you're going to rotoscope Turlo and replace that with something else. With the whole thing whereby it's looking at and you've got that weird effect over the top and then just that swirly effect. It's just unnecessary. So, I mean, where do you stand? This is it's good. It's easy for me to say that, but you fresh eyes on this. So, what do you think, Chris? Wow, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely should have done something about the. If you're redoing something to make it look better and you're bringing it up to date, they definitely should have done something with the TARDIS console room. I mean, it just looks so dirty and like it had been stored outside under an old sheet.
Yeah.
If they'd have made, like you said, like a scale model, and either rotoscoped it, superimposed it, put them in there, it would have been so much better. Yeah, things like that. So I definitely see what you're saying about that.
I mean, it's easy to say. I mean, the amount of people that it takes to work on something like this as well, the amount of money they had to redo it. I think also that the amount of time that it took to redo it, I don't know how this was line produced, so I don't know where the budget was, what the budget was for the special edition. I know it couldn't have been a massive amount. We were talking thousands of pounds. It's not that that big of a. I guess maybe I'd guess I'd say maybe 15 grand to redo this, and that's being generous. So, I mean, but the idea is that you could create assets that you could use for other special editions as well, and that so you'd factor that into a line budget as well. You'd look at other episodes because they've done Terminus as well. And again, I don't see the advantage of what they did, what the shots they replaced in Terminus as opposed to the ones that they originally had. And it's sort of the same here. Like, again, the net-in shot where they catch Turlo. It really, the original one wasn't great. Was this one better?
Yeah, not really.
Yeah. Where do you know? I get that you can see that a lot of the blue fringing on the original, and this net kind of just drops out of nowhere on the original, whereas on this one it does actually shoot out from the ship. But does it look better? I don't think so. And again, I don't want to rap on the effects because it is 10 years old and it's one person working flat out. But I think as a single story, I think it works really, really well. And the editing makes it a lot sharper. I wish they had replaced the music because again, I don't think the synth music works. If you're going to change the format and you're going to change the editing and you're going to sharpen it up and go, I'm going to make this so I can present this to a new audience. Okay, then change everything that you need to present to a new audience. Don't just, oh, this looks visually great. It needs to be great everywhere. Everything needs to hit the peaks. The story as well. I thought the story worked great. For the Eternals, I thought worked brilliantly, and I even love the concept of the Eternals. That they are, again, it's very cute. That's what I walk away from it, is that these people live in a situation whereby they're just bored with existence, and all they're trying to do is keep themselves entertained, and they found this. They've journeyed into sort of our existence. And they find this amusing. I like the arc for Mr. Mariner as well. It's kind of, I would like to bring back something like that because I feel like his character was actually getting somewhere. I think his character was cut off at the end, and that's why. It's kind of why I love Tegan. It's because he's kind of, Mr. Mariner's kind of like, oh, I'm so in love with you, Tegan. Please help me. And she's like, nope. You cold heartless bitch.
He might as well said to you, I love you, and she just went, do one.
Yeah, it was just literally like, no, I'm not going to help you. So it's one of those things though, but I mean that's what I love about Tegan. Like how can you not love this character? She's just so blunt. She is the Homer Simpson of how to solve problems. You know where he walks in and all the alerts are going off and he just picks up a bucket of water and just pours it over the console. That's her. It's just it. Like that's as blunt as she is. But I like that. I like the Guardians. I think what I like about the Guardians is the fact that they manipulate us. That they don't necessarily want to get their hands dirty. They don't want to necessarily get their hands involved. The Black Guardian really has no power over you can't force a person to do something against their will, really. It's kind of like the whole Satan makes a contract with somebody, You know, it's a deal with the devil. That's kind of what the Black Guardian is. You know, he's enticing you to do something that he wants you to do. And of course, he's challenging the Doctor because as he sees it, the Doctor's evil and needs to be stopped. Whereas the White Guardian is very much on the Doctor's side. There's a balancing act going on there between these two characters. I think if I was going to bring back the Guardians, I don't want to be boring and say I'd bring it back as they're in some sort of eternal battle. I think I'd want to go in a sort of different direction with them. I'm not sure what I would actually give the Black Guardian to do. I think if I was going to do it, I think I'd probably start it with something a little smaller. Something like, you know, it starts off as something small, and then it expands, and then you realize, oh shit, wait a minute, it's the Black Guardian that's behind it. I think that's how I would do it. I don't think I'd do it like, oh no, here comes the Black Guardian. Oh! I think I would do it as a sort of a slow reveal. You know, one thing would happen, and then another thing would happen, and there'd be this domino effect that would snowball up, and then you'd get to what the hell is behind this, and you'd just be like, there he is. You know.
The thing is, if they did that now, they would have such a massive actor on board to do it. You'd know, and then they'd spoil it in the trailer anyway.
I think I'd just go with Ian McKellen.
Yeah, it'd work.
Ian McKellen, Black Guardian, suits me fine. He's already done the voice of the Great Intelligence. But I mean, what the hell? You know, I have no problems with. I would have no problems with him being the Black Guardian. And you'd have Patrick Stewart as the White Guardian. Huh? That's what I'm thinking. That would work. Patrick Stewart would do it.
No, he's busy filming Picard.
He's not busy filming Picard. Get on it. He's filming Picard. He's not busy filming Picard. I am kind of looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to seeing what Amazon Prime do with it.
I'm looking forward to see how they've ruined it, you mean?
No, I think with Amazon Prime, because Amazon Prime has stepped on board now, because Netflix didn't want anything to do with Star Trek after Discovery.
Yeah.
So that might kind of make sense. So I'd be interested to see because there's people involved with Star Trek Picard that know Star Trek, which there wasn't with Discovery. And that's a big difference. You know, you've got Jonathan Frakes, he's involved with Picard. You've got Patrick Stewart, he's involved with Picard. So there's people that knew Star Trek, whereby when they did Discovery, there was nobody. For the Black Guardian, if I would bring back the Black Guardian, I think the point of bringing back the Black Guardian would be to want to do something. You'd want to do a story that affects a character. You don't want a story that's gonna, like, if I was gonna do a story, I tell you what I would do. This is genuine. I'd do a similar sort of thing. Right. I know exactly what I would do. Are you ready for this?
Go on in, shoot.
Right. I would bring back the Master. Right? Now,
Right.
completely different actor. Don't want John Sim. I want a new actor to play the Master. Right?
Right.
I would then have the Master be involved in a situation whereby actually the Master's not in the wrong. Right? Now, let's say the Master is on an alien planet, right? And that what he's about to do is commit genocide. Right? It's a small populous species on this planet. It's not a very big population. This planet has like 250,000 maximum over the entire planet. But it's a proto species. It's not a fully developed civilization. It's kind of like oh god, what's the film? Remember Apocalypto?
Yeah.
Right, that sort of level of development. So he's on this planet. Master has developed this planet as best he can. He's trying to bring up. There's something wrong with his TARDIS, and he's trying to fix it. But this planet doesn't have the technology, so he's trying to raise the level of technology on this planet so that he can fix his TARDIS to get the hell out of it. But he needs to train people, and these people have done something which has pissed off the Master. You know, I don't exactly know what it is, but they've done something which has harmed or wronged the Master in such a way that he is going to like kill them all. Like, screw you guys, I'm out here, but I'm going to kill you all first. So that the Master's doing this, the Doctor shows up to kind of like stop him, but in one move I'm going to make the Master an actual threat, because the Master hasn't been a threat for a long time, and I'm going to have the Black Guardian show up, and this is what I'm going to do. I would have the Master win and actually destroy the planet that all these people are on, and then I would have the Black Guardian show up and influence Yasmin Khan and give her the deal with the Black Guardian and make Yasmin Khan leave with the Master and make her the Master's companion. It'll give Yaz something to do. It'll give her some character development. It'll give her something to actually go against the Doctor. What do you think?
That would certainly be an interesting one. Would she redeem herself in this storyline?
Eventually.
And the Doctor, knowing if she finds out that it's the Black Guardian,
Yep.
can find Vizsla Turlo and get him to help out, thus bringing it all in together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
But you give the Master his balls back, literally. And you actually make the Master a threat by actually having the Master destroy this planet with this entire population. Make the Doctor actually lose this one. And actually, because of the influence of the Black Guardian, you actually go, well, the Doctor can't win them all. And the Doctor's lost to the Master, lost Yasmin to the Master to be the Master's companion. Because why wouldn't the Master have a companion? It'll give Yasmin something to do. I think that's exactly how I would do it.
So we've got Sir Ian McKellen
Yep.
as the Guardian,
Yep.
Patrick Stewart as the White Guardian.
Yep.
Who are we going to have as the Master this time round? See, I'm thinking Richard E. Grant.
Well, no, he's done the Great Intelligence.
I know he has. That's a shame.
Who would I have as the Master? I would want to go with Charles Dance. I really would.
Oh, Charles Dance for Go to Bed would be perfect.
Can you imagine Charles Dance, Patrick Stewart, and Ian McKellen? You couldn't afford that. Christ!
What a story it'd be.
As I said it, I was just counting up, going 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. It's like, holy hell! I mean, Charles Dance would be great. Oh, do I go with somebody younger? Oh, I don't know. I'd be happy to go with Chiwetel Ejiofor. He'd do a good job. Oh hell. Let me think. I'd want to go. It depends on how you want to do the Master this time. But I'm thinking that if I was going to do the Master that exists on a Mayan type civilization world, a Mayan type species, that I think I would actually make the master a little more rough around the edges.
You're going to end up saying Ross Kemp here.
No, I think I would want. I think what I would do with the master actually is I'd probably give him a mohawk type ponytail and actually some sort of tattooing around the head. Make him a taller figure and make him brutal. So you'd still have a sort of a, because again you're dealing with a Mayan type civilization that he's stuck on with his TARDIS. So he would have tried to have blended him. So you give him back the beard, but you lose this. You give him this sort of tight sort of ponytail to the back, and a tattooing around it. Maybe in Gallifreyan, you know, that'd be something. But go different. Just go different and go like, no, this is a savage master. So follow those savage cues. Go with, yeah. Let's take this off the list. Let's make this guy nasty, and let's go with, you know, those sort of threads. And the same with his clothes. Then you actually, you know, make his clothes look a little bit more like a suit, but a bit more very, very scaled, trimmed back. So it's very, very it fits almost any situation. Then, you know, it's a suit with no sort of indication of any sort of it's just standard. It's just this fits any environment kind of thing. Kind of like what he had with World Enough in Time and the Doctor Falls. That's the sort of thing that I would do. But again, I would definitely want to make him sort of more barbarian, and just being because I would want to push the master into that area of this guy's about to commit genocide. You know, how would I get there? Okay. So this is how I would get the master to win. Have the Doctor be there. Have the master beat the Doctor, and have the Doctor. Okay, right. Use my scenario. Okay. The TARDIS, the master's TARDIS, crash lands on this planet, forcing the master to regenerate. Right. We don't know which master it is. It's not important, right? But this new master emerges and is on this proto planet. These people that he meets on this planet are very, very basic. Very, you know, they have a basic language. They have all that stuff. And he's like, right, I got to fix the TARDIS. And he's developing technologies, developing different things. And he falls in love. Keep it simple. He falls in love. He falls in love with a native, and everything's going well, except the people think of the master as a witch or a warlock, whatever you want to do it, and they end up killing her instead of the master, and that's what pushes him over the edge. We have a nice little revenge story with the master, but you want to do something nasty. You want to do something nasty to her, so that it goes like, okay, I can see why he's gone like this way. So I'm going to say, like, she's going to be tortured to death. And when the master finds her, she's still alive. But she's in an appalling state. Kind of, I'm thinking of like Shmi Skywalker kind of scenario. You know, what turned Anakin to the dark side? And when you've already got the master who's already in the dark side, you can kind of see where that goes over the edge. How I would put the Doctor into it is that I would have the master arguing, and why I would have Yaz change, flip sides, is that you'd have the deal with the Guardian, or what I would do is have an argument between the master and the Doctor, whereby the master just goes, look, you always think that I'm doing evil all the time, but I don't influence planets. You're the one who constantly imposes your own morality on the scenario. You constantly change time. You constantly change the destiny of planets. And who the hell are you to do that? And that's where I would have Yasmin just go, the Master's right. And that's how I would have her leave with him. And I think that would make a very compelling storyline. I should be writing Doctor Who. But that's what I would do anyway. What do you think of that?
Well, it'd make a good story. It'd probably have to be on a bit later and possibly be a 2 or 3 parter. But yeah.
Oh, I mean, I would probably do it across at least half a season. Mainly because I wouldn't keep coming back to the Master and Yaz. So I would have you. Do you remember Quantum Leap when they used to introduce the evil Leaper? Like, it wasn't in every episode. It wasn't like, oh, here's the evil Leaper. It would be like, here's the Master and Yaz in, say, episode 1. They would show back up again in episode 4, and then they'd show back up in episode like 8, and then episode 10. So I would have it spread throughout, as opposed to so you've got time for these characters to kind of you want time to elongate the story without procrastinating it. So you have these adventures in between, so that when these do show up again, it's like, oh god, something bad's about to happen. I think that's how I would play it out. So, and it depends on how many episodes you have per season, obviously. But that's how I would play out that story. You do it kind of like a kind of like a Last of the Time Lords type of thing, or Bad Wolf scenario. A bit heavier on the story arc, like kind of. I don't know how else to explain it. It's kind of, you just have these episodes whereby these paths cross in these episodes, but you don't get to the result until the end. Because I think you'd want to build. You certainly want to take Yaz and have her push so far against the Doctor that it's like, you know, there is no way this character's coming back. And then you can start. Do you know what I mean? You've kind of, for me, you've always got to go over the cliff. You can't just go up to the cliff's edge. You've got to push that person off the edge. Otherwise, it doesn't fulfill the story. But yeah, that's how I would bring back the Black Guardian. Yeah, that's definitely how I would do it. And how you'd stop the Black Guardian is to, again, you've got, as you say, you've got Turlo that could come back. But again, you've also got the notion that it comes from Yaz's own realization as well. She's got to do it on her own. But the character, you can't have a character redeem unless they go over that edge. It's kind of like what's wrong with Rey in Star Wars. People often comment on her being a Mary Sue character. She keeps falling on it. She keeps failing upwards. Then she doesn't fail and land on her ass and got to pick herself up and dust herself off. She's this sort of character that can never do anything wrong. You know, if she got into, she's sort of. Do you remember Hot Shots Pas Deux?
God, yeah. Yes, I do.
Right, you know the scene whereby they're on that massive gunfight, and then Charlie Sheen just goes screw it and just picks up a handful of bullets and just throws it.
Yeah,
that's Rey. that is Rey 100%. There's nothing. Even when she gets blown up, she just lands face first in the mud, just pulls it out and she's fine. Whereas you can't do a character like that and expect to get away with it. You've got to take a character down. You've got to have this character hit rock bottom. And for Yaz, it would be an interesting twist to have a character like that has travelled with the Doctor and has observed the Doctor, and then would actually end up going against the Doctor, because at least then you've got Ryan, you've got Graham. Yaz really hasn't had fuck all to do. Let's be honest here. She really hasn't had anything to do at all. She's not a bad person. What was that, Chris?
about?
Pardon?
Hello?
Hello.
Am I there now?
You are fading in, yes?
Oh, right, okay. I said I just had to Google the word Yaz to see what you was going on about.
Yes, insert blank character here. And there, I think it would actually give the character some real interest. I think because we know she's not a bad person. She's a police officer. Not that you'd know that from series 11, but she is. But yeah, I think that's how I would do it. What is the redemption for her? Well, you work that out with, where you want to take the story. But yeah, I mean, in the wake of watching Enlightenment, there, I would bring back the Eternals as well at some point. Maybe that's the through thread. Is to use the Eternals with the Master and have some sort of scenario with that. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of good stuff based in the Black Guardian trilogy. Yeah. I mean, again, you just watched the special edition version now. What would be ideal, I think, for the Guardians is to not necessarily do a. I mean, the implication here was kind of laid on a bit heavy at the start of the episode with the chess game, black versus white. It's a bit on the nose. Kind of gives away what's going on, but I think that was quite clever. That was quite a clever little moment. If you didn't know what was coming, so would you? Because here's the question for you, Chris. Would you want to see the Black Guardian and the White Guardian fight?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting because they are opposing poles.
Yeah.
They'd have to have different hats on. Take it seriously.
Yeah. those costumes can burn. Let's pretend those costumes never happened.
Well, before we get off the subject of them, I've been racking my brains to find out what it was the White Guardians one reminded me of, and it's just come to me, and it's the seagull from Fingerbobs.
It's just that dopey look on the thing. It's just that it's got such a dopey look on his face, like. And you can't look at the White Guardian, the actor. The problem is that because he's got two sets of eyes, you can't look at him in the face. You've got to look at that dopey looking expression of that thing bobbing on his head. You'd have to get rid of that. Yeah, that'd have to go. I'm all for a white hair. Maybe you can make them younger because they're guardians. They don't have to be old men. Actually, you can make them younger. Because I think if you're going to do a battle between the White Guardian and the Black Guardian, it probably looked like Gandalf versus Saruman. I think that's kind of how the battle would go, probably as well.
Yeah, I think I'd also have it if they had a final standoff battle. I'd have it so they were basically an impasse and couldn't destroy each other, and then it'd be down to the Doctor to contain their explosive battle and move it somewhere else.
So, yeah, you have to move it to a different realm, to a different, shift it to a different universe.
Mm-hmm.
That would be certainly a, yeah, that would be an interesting thing to have the Doctor have to. The only way you can do it is to actually get the Doctor to actually. Maybe that's how you could do it. How you could bring in the Eternals is that they could open up a space tunnel that could punch through to a different universe. or outside the universe, which would be the best thing for it, because then it doesn't affect any. Because otherwise, if you just punch a hole through to a different universe, then you could just wipe another universe out. So maybe that's just an impossible choice that the Doctor faces. Sometimes it's good to have Doctor Who stories that don't end with everything's fine. Sometimes it's nice to have Doctor Who stories that go, this is shit. There's nothing we can do. Funny enough, I watched a video the other day about this very subject of when to have stories end positive and when not to. And most of the time, the stories that don't end positively are the ones that you really kind of stick with you. So stories like Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood, and Empire Strikes Back. Like all the ones with the happy endings tend to be a little bit kind of okay, that's nice. Like for me, the Terminator Genesis, holy hell, Terminator's got a happy ending. What are you doing? Like what are you doing?
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, I mean, such a Disney ending to the film, and it's just like, oh my god.
I like the film. It weren't too bad, and I liked all the acting. But why the hell did they get Jai, whatever his name is, to play Reese? He is not the product of a malnourished, underfunded, living in the dark society.
Yeah.
When he comes out looking like
Captain Buff.
Captain Buff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of missteps on that film. Do you know that, again, for me, Terminator Genesis is just like the first 60 minutes is one of some of the best cinema I've ever seen. And then the last 60 minutes is like, holy shit, this all went wrong. Somebody just set fire to this thing. There's no, they can't put it out.
Right, we've got so they're all good.
But I mean, yeah, most of the time, if you look at things that don't end well, again, Heaven Sent, Heaven Sent is one that doesn't end well. You know, there's that whole story with the Doctor trapped in that castle inside the confession dial, and at the end of the episode, it's like he walks out and everybody who's died is still died, and he's pissed off, and now this isn't going to end well for anyone. So sometimes you've got to take these dark approach stories, and I think that is part of the failing with it's not all Doctor Who, because there is that element of now the episode's over, it's reset for another week. Which is, that happened through the David Tennant, Matt Smith era as well, and that's fine. People were complaining a lot that Series 11 didn't have a story arc. Well, so what? You as long as you do good storytelling, which I think we can all acknowledge they kind of tripped on. But if you're gonna do a story arc, then you're gonna have to go for it. You're gonna have to sort of like go, right, and we're gonna do a story arc now, but we need to plan this shit out thoroughly. We need to make this thing work. We need to know what everybody's gonna be doing in every episode. And I think because what they did with, again, we would go back to talking about Enlightenment here. What they did with the character of Turlo and the Black Guardian trilogy, because obviously the first time the Black Guardian shows up is in the Tom Baker story. Oh God, no, I'm thinking. No, it's gone. Never mind. But he shows up there. Then you have the Black Guardian trilogy, where again we've got Modern Undead, Terminus, and then Enlightenment. But all through there's a thread that runs right the way through. So when people talk about doing these modern stories with modern story arcs flowing through, bullshit. John Nathan Turner's been doing that since like 1983. It's not new for Doctor Who storytelling.
The Rybos operation, apparently.
Pardon?
The Rybos operation, the Black Guardian was in.
Right. Yes. But yeah, it's not a new concept of Doctor Who to have these tie-in content, because Jonathan Turner was very fond of continuity, so he was really happy so that you'd have a story start with them talking about what had just previously happened on Doctor Who, which I didn't necessarily like as a thing. I mean, it meant that you knew where everything was tied into. But like when in Terminus, where Sarah Sutton decides to leave, I'm not sure how I felt about Nissa leaving. Actually, I thought it was an odd choice for her to go in that particular episode. I think I because it kind of comes out of nowhere. It's kind of like she goes through the entire episode of Terminus, through episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you get to episode 4, and then she goes, "No, I'm staying." And it's kind of like there was no real inkling that she wanted to stay. It was kind of like a very sharp twist to her, sort of like suddenly deciding, I'm gonna stay." The problem with doing the continuity that way then was that when it gets to Enlightenment, they don't really talk about Nissa. So there are pros and cons of doing it in that way. Do you want to talk about Terminus?
Yeah, you can do.
So Terminus was kind of a Ship of the Dead story, and it was really fun. Like, it's a really fun show. We're going to cover Terminus at some point, but as an in between for the Black Guardian trilogy, what you get out of Terminus is really Turlo being a little bit more devious. There's things that he's doing whereby he kind of sabotages the console. He does things here or there. I think he bugs around with one of the roundels, takes one of the roundels out, and he effectively forces the TARDIS to collide with a spaceship, and causes the exterior of the TARDIS. Kind of like what happens with Voyage of the Damned, where the Titanic breaks through. But it actually breaks through into Nissa's quarters. And what we get then is a story that is about this leper colony, or, I don't think they call them lepers, do they? They call them, it's something like lepers. There's also some bad delivery in that episode. Good God. I wanted to check the cast on Terminus for a second, because so a quick look. Because if I remember rightly, one of the actors. Oh dear. God, those are some awful. Well, space helmets are just. What the piss were they thinking? What on earth were they? Let's have a quick look here. I'm trying to find the. So look here. Is it Lisa Goddard?
Oh, Andrew Sturt was in it as well. I remember him as a kids presenter.
Yeah. I mean, they had some. Yes, Lisa Goddard she's a woof. Good grief. She's done a lot of kids shows.
Didn't she also do one of the original charade shows?
Possibly, yes. Oh God, I can't remember what the hell it was called now.
Give us a clue. That's it.
Yes. Go on then, give us a clue. Yes. Yes, she did. She played one of the. She did. Honestly, the space pirates in that look like bloody backing dancers from the darkness. I believe in a thing called love. In my heart. They were awful. They genuinely. I don't know how somebody walked on set wearing that and they didn't burst out laughing. Terminus has been given a 6.5. That's unfair. That is a proper unfair. It deserves more than that. I'm going to rate this. Yes, I bloody well will. I'm going to give it a 7. There. And that's a baseline. I'm only deducting points for that giant bloody Jeff Capes looking space dog. Because that was a bit too on the nose. Good. I don't know who played. What was it? What was it called? The Gorm. Was it? This one? Yeah. Hanoi was. No, apparently there were some issues with that as well. Because Tara is an actual brand, I think. IMDb has gone downhill. Trying to find the names of these people. But yeah, big giant space dog. Not the best of makeup ideas. They could have done something else with that head. And it's really just the head is the main fault. I know what they were going for, but it was literally sort of playing it as sort of one of the hounds of hell guarding the gates to the undead. And in this, it was a big space dog guarding the entranceway to the Lazars. That's it. You're guarding the gate to the Lazars. It was a much more fun adventure than Mordrin Undead. It was easier to follow than Mordrin Undead. The actual thing made sense. I don't think it's been acknowledged since the start of Doctor Who's New Who coming back that it was said in Doctor Who in Terminus that the detonation of the engine was the reason why the universe was brought into existence. So it makes for an interesting story. I don't know how much I like that idea. I certainly love the original model of Terminus, how the actual thing looked. This is supposed to be this ginormous space station thing that was at the center of the universe. But it was supposed to be like the engine goes into meltdown and triggers the Big Bang. Which is kind of... I think, if I remember rightly, it triggers the pilot of Terminus sends the engine back in time. And that's what triggers the Big Bang. But then, it's one of those story ideas that I don't know if I can get my fully on board with. It's kind of like when they done Star Trek 09 and it was like, when the Romulan star explodes, it's going to wipe out the galaxy. And I'm like, how big is this fucking star? like seriously, just stop talking shit. So I don't know how well I can buy into that with Terminus, but I think it for what it is, the way the production is put together, the way it looks, the way that Terminus is put together, it's a nice episode. That's the best thing I can say about it. It's a very nice episode. It's dealing with a situation of slavery. It deals with it deals with more conflict with Turlo. I think it's a story that deserves a lot more praise than it's actually given. I'm really surprised at that this character, this story, Just because again, you've got to look at it. This. It's even executed pretty well for what it is, and they use the model shots pretty well for what they are. But as a conjoining story with as a middle ground for the Black Guardian trilogy, I think it's what the Black Guardian trilogy needed was a bit of okay, now you can relax. Now you can relax and just take this in, because we'd had all this big panicky sort of rushing around in Modern Undead, which didn't really do anything towards the end. Whereas with Terminus was kind of like, no, this does actually mean something. This actually is about something. And then you get to Enlightenment, which is kind of like the blowout. It's kind of like, okay, let's end this story with Turlo. Let's end, let's wrap this up, and let's open up this new idea with these characters. But they were all about big themes. It was all about, in terms of how the story plays out, it's Norse mythology, more mythology, and then actually dealing with gods at the end. So it kind of does upscale all the time. So overall as a trilogy, I think Terminus works pretty well as the middle ground. They lose Nissa, so one of the companions is gone and taken out. Yeah, I think the Black Guardian trilogy overall deserves a bit more praise than it actually gets. Again, at some point we will cover Modern Undead and Terminus. I think you'd enjoy Terminus a bit more than Modern Undead. If you don't really remember Modern Undead, it's and that's pretty much all I can say about it.
I mean, just to prove a point of what you were saying earlier on, having a look through the TARDIS wiki page about Terminus,
yeah,
I clearly don't remember about as much of that as I thought I did, but I do remember at the end it's quite sad because Nissa leaves. So that's the bit I've taken away from that. I remember that, and that ending with the Black Guardian telling Turlo to kill the Doctor.
Yeah,
and that's how that 4-part serial ends. So yeah, so I don't remember as much of that as I thought I did, to be honest with you.
Oh well, I mean, again, it's kind of Empire Strikes Back. It really is. It's kind of Enlightenment is kind of the Return of the Jedi of it, but with the big difference here is it's kind of the other way around. If you imagine that Modern Undead is Return of the Jedi, Terminus is Empire Strikes Back, and Enlightenment is A New Hope. That's kind of how it plays out. It's kind of the Star Wars in reverse. Because you start off with Enlightenment is very much, again, they are dealing with the situation of they have to get these people get on board this ship that's trying to get from one place to another place to solve this problem. You've got these ships being boarded. You've got these ships blowing up. You've got these things with powers that these people that they just don't understand, or don't believe in these powers. You've got a ballsy sort of woman that is just not put up with any of this shit, even when she's contained by these magical things. Still doesn't give a shit. It's just like, I'm not taking any crap from you, which is very much analogous to, or very similar to Princess Leia and Darth Vader. She doesn't take crap off him either. So yeah, it is kind of like Star Wars in reverse, but you've still got Terminus straight in the middle, which is still very much Empire Strikes Back. It looks okay for what it is. Yeah, it's just And the only thing I really don't like from Terminus, I guess, and I mean this is a personal thing, is the radiation suits. I don't like the radiation suits. They kind of look like suits of armor. I don't mind the body suits. I don't like the helmets because I don't think the helmets work. They got this sort of flap that sort of lifts up, and for some reason, I don't know why, but one of them has a toy stuck to the helmet, and they've all got moustaches. Why the hell a helmet needs a moustache, I don't know.
I do remember the helmets with a flap at the front, which they do look like suits of armour, and they seem to sit wonky on all the actors' heads, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, well, not only that, but I believe the helmets were so badly fitting, they all came with a sock. So you can put the helmet on, but then you pull the sock down. So, because the helmet actually sort of sat up here. So you had to pull a sock down, so that it sat over the actor's chin. So otherwise, if they didn't have the sock on them, you'd actually sort of see this. So it looked really kind of odd. But let's have a look here. Let's see if we can have a look at Terminus. Radiation suit. That's not how you spell radiation. Images. No, those are actual radiation suits. How big is that? Oh, that image is tiny. That's a shame. There's actually one radiation suit from Doctor Who, full life-size Doctor Who fan made. Oh, it's a fan made on eBay. Let's. What can I do here? I'm just trying to get an image. My spelling is awful. Doctor Who Terminus. So there we go. So yeah. Right. Let's share this. There you go. There's the radiation suits from Terminus.
Yeah, they're a bit Zardoz, aren't they?
They are. You can't really see it because the actor's looking down. But there's the sock, and you can see where the front of this actually comes round. It's literally just right under the actor's chin. And why the bloody hell they've all got moustaches, I don't know. Like, what is that about? Who comes up with a suit, a radiation suit, and thinks, what this needs is a bit more Tom Selleck? I mean, it's weird. But these ones are just the normal ones with the thing. There is one walking around with an action figure stuck to the forehead. Where's that to? Have they got that? He was a good character in Terminus. Four. Very, very good. I don't know I can't remember the actor's name. And again, the actors in this were good. He was good in it as well, Vanguard. But I really liked Four.
Four came with his own moustache as well.
Yeah. I mean, look at those. Oh my god. What were they thinking? What is that about? Who thought that was a good idea?
I have no words.
If you've just landed the job on Doctor Who, you think, yeah, great. They've just said, look, you're going to be a space pirate. Yeah, great. You get in the costume and then you hand you those. They're like, ah. That's just tragic. You can kind of see where the set was reused from like Earthshock and what they had in stock as well. but it doesn't matter because it's put together nicely. The hell's that? I don't know. Oh, look. Yeah, because they even done this part well here with the pilot. That was done really well. I remember that. Because it's like this dead corpse in this pilot suit.
That's a pretty good model, that.
It's very. They do a real good close up on her as well. I don't know if it'll. What is this? Yeah, look at that. Big space dog. What were they thinking? That's my only problem with Terminus, is literally there are points where you just go, oh, that's a shame. But yeah, I don't think there's any more on there. Yeah, it's a good. The problem is, it's a good story. It's just like, there's things they shouldn't have done. But there we are. Yeah, it also had this weird little robot with all arms. Didn't really do anything. It just kind of. I mean, it handcuffed people from time to time and dragged them off. The radiation suit overall doesn't look bad as armor, but as a radiation suit, I don't think it works.
No, you put that in a medieval fantasy setting. It's a fantastic suit of armor, but as a radiation suit,
The hell? Oh, that's from
that's from
you. Yeah, if we go back up and get the another. Is there a better image? Oh, let me open a new tab. Let's have a look. Yeah, see, it doesn't. I'm not sure. See, they make these odd choices. I don't get it. You've decided to make these badass looking suits of armor, and then you give them this sort of a salmon pink curtain to wear. Like it's peach. Yeah, there. Yeah, it's a peach cape. Like who the hell? What sort of idiot makes those sort of decisions? Yeah, it's just crazy. But again, the setting for Terminus is actually pretty bloody good. There is this. Oh God, I forgot about that. So there's this weird thing they do where they keep chaining Nissa up, right? For some reason, they just keep chaining Nissa up. It's a bizarre situation. They keep wanting to kidnap her and just take her and chain her up somewhere. Doesn't really fully explain exactly what's going on until you realise that she's been infected. But they still doesn't understand why she gets chained up in these odd places, as opposed to just taken to the laser camp. But there's a shot whereby the doctor is fighting one of the him. The doctor is fighting this guy, and they're in a proper fisticuff kind of fight, and he twats the doctor with his staff, and then for some unknown reason, and I can't think of any good reason why, she decides to shoot him, not the doctor, she decides to shoot the other guy, but to shoot him, she ricochets her laser off a piece of metal. He's standing right in front of her. I don't know why that was. I can't think of any good reason for it.
no, me neither.
It's such a bizarre, and this guy here, who plays the other camp space pirate. So there's and it's not his fault, right? At the end of one of the episodes, his delivery is, quite frankly, shocking. But I don't think it's his fault. He delivers the climax of this is a leper ship. They're all lasers. And then he goes, we're all gonna die! And it's like, oh god! But it's actually what you can see what he's doing. It's going to the scream for the episode. So but it's kind of like an editing choice. And what makes it worse is that in the next episode, they keep the same delivery.
Oh dear.
So he goes, this is a laser ship. Oh, this is a leper ship. They're all lasers. We're all gonna die. Okay, moving on. It's like, holy shit. You can understand some of the choices made at the time, but it's just funny. Again, that's one of the ones that, as part of Doctor Who, classic Who, you've got to allow for the exception of this was they had minutes to get this thing sorted for the end of the day before somebody knocked the lights off. And that's pretty much where I leave that. So yeah, that's pretty much covered Enlightenment in its full with the Black Guardian trilogy. Again, we will do Modern Undead at some point, and we will do Terminus at some point. But I mean, overall, what we end up with is a story with Enlightenment whereby it's a separate adventure. It closes up the Black Guardian story with Turlo. It leaves Turlo free of the Black Guardian's influence. It's an interesting character that they brought in by having the character be somebody that wants to assassinate the Doctor and still be one of the Doctor's companions. Yeah, we say goodbye to Nyssa. She had again, it was kind of a rushed way out. But we get to Enlightenment and she's already gone. There's no real mention of her. She's absent from the story. There's kind of a love story with Tegan and Mr. Mariam, but it doesn't really pan out well for him. Fun?
It doesn't pan out with rumors.
No. Because she's just having none of it. Really, I mean, the production on it is still comparatively to even modern Who. I mean, the one you would probably compare this episode to is probably Black Spot, and I think this does it better. Because Curse of the Black Spot didn't really have that great of an end to the story, whereas this did. Again, some of the effect shots aren't necessary. I would have left them out. I think the only thing it really suffers from is the score. But aside from that, yeah, if I'm going to rate Enlightenment out of 10, I'm probably going to give it a 7.5. It's a good looking episode. It's a good looking story. The costumes look good. It introduces some interesting ideas that you've got no chance of fighting these creatures. You got no chance. So how do you get around it? How does the Doctor deal with the situation? And he goes with what he thinks is the best scenario, which is to see this thing through to the end, but to choose what he considers to be the lesser of these evils, even though these people don't necessarily care about life forms that are less than them. Or rather, not only do they not care about it, they don't understand it. I don't think the Doctor's trying to raise their influence to sort of make them understand.
Wait, two of them.
Pardon?
He did get 2 of them out of the ship.
Yeah, that's true. He did. Yeah, he definitely did kill 2 of them. Well, I mean, in those sort of terms, he done a good job, I think, for Peter Davison this episode. His Doctor, there are points whereby, because I think one of the things that one of the criticisms of Peter Davison's Doctor is that he's very, very upbeat, and he plays it as this sort of melancholy. So he plays it as a melancholy Doctor who's always on the positive side. And in this episode, it's the flip reverse. He is pissed at what is going on this ship. And it's the first time you get to see this Doctor be a little bit gutsy, I think. I mean, he's had aggressive moments with, or anger moments in previous episodes. I'm trying to think of another episode whereby he's actually blown up over this, whereby he's gone like, I'm gonna deal with you. This is kind of it, really. I don't think this. I mean, this is on the ramp up to Caves of Androzani as well. So I don't know. What do you think of Peter Davison's performance in this?
I thought he was pretty solid, to be honest with you. He was definitely very doctory in this one.
Yeah, I mean, he's very much what modern Doctor Who is, like in terms of how Peter Capaldi would have played it, or how Tennant would have played it. Matt Smith not so much, but definitely what David Tennant would have done and Peter Capaldi would have done as well. It was those sorts of similar choices. But he's always been, Peter Davison has always seemed to me to be this, not so much sullen, but again, he's been a very melancholy Doctor at the start with Captain Valva and all those. This was really the first time I remember seeing Peter Davison get actively angry as the 5th Doctor at a scenario whereby it was like, you just can't do this. You just can't kill ephemerals. You've crossed the line here. And his delivery was good. And again, he's playing against Keith Barron, who has just is like Commander Data. He's just got this, but then this little creeps of emotion sneak in, and then you've got Linda Barron as well, who is just going for gold. I mean, she is just out there. She's way up. So good cast, good solid delivery from all the actors. Yeah, it's got to be a 7.5. I'm not sure if I had to take anything off it. The only thing I'd be taking away wouldn't actually be a story element. I think it's the only reason why I've deducted those points really is the execution of some of the effect shots and some of the musical score. That's pretty much it. What have you got, Chris?
Well, I mean, I started remembering the story as it was going along, and I think the way they've edited it together was quite slick, to be honest with you, compared to the original one. And obviously, they've kind of removed the cliffhanger element slightly and tied it up. I think you're about right on the score.
I mean, let's compare this to a modern, because that's what they've done is they've edited it to a modern standard. So this episode of Doctor Who is, and that's pretty much why I chose it, was because this episode of Doctor Who is pretty much comparable. Forget the era that it was made in. It's comparable to a modern episode of Doctor Who. How do you think it holds up against something, against a Matt Smith episode?
Well, I personally think the writing's a lot better compared to what the writing is now. I think it holds up fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, there are bits. I did mention it when we were getting towards some notes towards the end that there are huge chunks just cut out, just trimmed off, just to make it a bit snappier, a bit sharper. And one of the trims is Turlo is talking to Captain Rack, and he says something like, "I know the voice that talks to you. He speaks to me as well." And the bit after that is sort of like, "I serve him as I wish to serve you," and there's a little bit there, and the delivery's not good, and it really, it doesn't really work for Turlo either, whereby he's trying to slime up to her, and that whole bit has been chopped, completely gone. And it does. The editing is much sharper for those bits, and the way it's been, particularly with the film cuts as well, because like again, there's bits in the original that I remember. I think they actually left in if I remember rightly, one of the bits was Turlo jumping overboard, and I think they actually left in the bit where his harness snapped. If I remember rightly, I'm not sure. But because again, he didn't let the wires take the strain and swing out. He actually jumped, so he went like that. The things went up and then tightened and then snapped and then dropped in. But I think in the original one, I think they actually left that in. I remember the model effects. Not all the model effects looked that bad in the original. I do remember that. Some of them looked pretty good because they were shot on film. And if I remember rightly, they were shot. The miniatures were about 3 foot long, each one, and they were shot against a rear projection. So they weren't actually that bad looking. I would like to find some model shots from Enlightenment, just so we can have a. But obviously, Fiona Cumming didn't shoot this and have total control over everything. The effects department did what the effects department does. So she kind of had very limited. She had very limited control over what the model effects looked like. Yeah, they didn't. I've got this one image here that I'm going to share. So yeah. Oh, good grief. So yeah, let's just share this so you can see. So that's one of the original effects. It doesn't look that bad. Some of them, obviously, like I'm going to admit, some of them probably do look. But that's Captain Rack ship there, the Buccaneer. There's got to be some gear. Oh. Yeah, they're not horrible. I mean, I've seen much worse. But again, these were sort of 3 foot models stuck in front of a rear projection. And that's as bad as the effects are going to look. It's never going to degrade from that. There isn't a. I don't think there's another shot. Never mind. So yeah, I enjoyed that this evening. It's been a bit of good fun.
Yeah, definitely. good 14 years. So
Yeah,
nice to go back and revisit these. I mean, a lot of the, like I said to you the other week, a lot of the Fifth Doctor stuff I watched with my boys with it, and I haven't watched it again since.
yeah. I mean, oh god, I love those spacesuits. Those spacesuits are just those are stunning. Those are really good, well designed suits. I love the helmet. I love the fact that the helmet's got this underslung jaw with the glass that lifts up. I'm not sure how useful that is, but I mean, in terms of acting, it's probably just very, very simple just to be able to do that and just be able to breathe. I don't think I would have liked to have seen the actors do that themselves, mind. But I love the backpack, and I love the undersuit as well, and the chest plate as well. It looks so good. Like I can't fault the costuming on this. And again, Tegan in that vintage costume, she just looks great. And all of them look great. Linda Barron's costume, it's over the top, exactly what the character wants. You know, with the sort of almost olive green with a bright sort of purple.
Well, it's the period costumes that the BBC excel at, isn't it? So.
Well, yeah, I mean, the choices of the costumes for this show were excellent. I mean, everything just looked spot on. All the but again, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier with the makeup. When they did the Eternals and you had the Mortals that were weathered had a sort of a reddish sort of blotchiness to their skin, whereas the Eternals were just beige. There was no there wasn't a blemish on their faces at all, and somebody somewhere thought of that. Somebody somewhere sat and went, no, these things are untouched. They should look like, you know, as perfect. I mean, even Mr. Mariner, when he takes his hat off, his hair is perfectly sculpted. And somebody made that decision, and same with Keith Barron. When Keith Barron takes off his captain's hat, his hair is glued to the side. You know, it's and of course we got the gorgeous lighting inside the TARDIS that we hadn't had before. And again, it's the best the TARDIS has ever looked. That
It's slightly orangey now.
yeah, let's not go there. Let's not do that. But yeah. That's it. I mean, even like I said, that's the shit console as well. I mean, it's not a good console. Don't like it. But I mean, even then, you've got these really, and it looks powerful because you've got the light is popping against the darkness in the set. So the Time Rotor looks like there's a lot of energy there.
Yeah.
And you can actually see the color of this on the fall off on the Fifth Doctor. You know, there's a little bit of a hue that's illuminating this side, and it just looks great. Again, it's a shame that this set was trash at the time, because when the lights do come back up, it's dirty, it's stinking. I mean, you can just see it there. There's a little bit of a gap under the set where it's been dinged. But yeah, I mean, that's probably the best it's ever looked. Certainly the most dramatic. And this you just have to Fiona Cummings. This is, this is her choice to say, let's like it like this. And all this is tying in so that it works with film as well. So it's the least noticeable jump, I think, between a studio shot and a film shot. And I think that's why. So I don't think it's very like I think if you watch classic Who, it's quite noticeable when they go from studio to location because you can tell the difference between the old EMI cameras and the film cameras. Whereas with this, I thought it was very unnoticeable. You know, I knew what I was looking for when I was seeing it, but I think when you jumped from one to the other, it was less of a jump. It was less of a pop. And that's all due to the fact that it was lit correctly. You know, the blacks had real black to them. And they just weren't afraid of shadow. It looks good. It does look good. And that's it for Enlightenment. Let's go something else to add, Chris.
No, I was just saying it. You know, when I get the lighting right on something like that, it makes it brings it to life.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, like we mentioned this several times before about the new heap of shit set. What's amazing is that the new set feels smaller than that one, even though we know it's bigger. And that's really odd. And it's even though that set is the new set is probably a little bit brighter lit than that one. I'd still take that one.
Yeah, I mean,
even with that console. If you like that console like that, it doesn't look so bad.
even with that console and the mouldy roundels, I'd still take that set.
Yeah.
I'm, I'm still in disbelief, really, especially after we did it last week, that they just didn't think with Capaldi's TARDIS. It's like, that's really good, we'll keep that.
Yeah. This is. I mean, you can. Here's my problem. I understand why, right? Because they were clean slate in the lot. They were going right. We're gonna clean slate from the start. We've got our own production designer. We've got our own series to do. Let's start from scratch, which is what they were doing. That's not always a good thing. You know, that's. I mean, it's just bizarre that you would look at something that good. I mean, who that? Alwyn Jones, as a production designer, I'm not gonna criticize because he's had a lot to do with the rest of the design for the rest of the series, not just the TARDIS. But when we're looking at the core element of the TARDIS, I have no good god idea what he was thinking. Like there's absolutely it doesn't look like anything. And then I would have rather them have harkened it right the way back to the Hartnell. I would have given that they already had the set from Twice Upon a Time. I have no idea why they wouldn't have taken what worked on that set and just used it and just gone, no, let's do this. Let's. I'd be interested to see how the set has changed for Series 12 because I'd be willing to bet that they've probably heard people talk shit about that set. I don't know really what else there is to say really about that set that we haven't already said. And I don't want to retread old ground. So yeah, I mean, how satisfied are you now that you've seen Enlightenment again?
Yeah, quite. I enjoyed that. That's it's a good story. I'm glad I managed to pick the DVD up in the week.
Yeah, yeah, you didn't actually have it. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I've got the original 4-parter, so I've never had the souped up version.
yeah.
And looking at I was just flicking through then just to see some of the old effects while you was putting them on the screen. The the version I've got on my computer is I think it predates the DVDs when I got them, so it's it's fairly it's recorded from someone's video basically.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's nicer to have a nice crisp version of that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, some of the original effect shots. Again, I wouldn't. My major problem with it isn't that they replace like some of the boat effect shots. When you see all the ships together for the first time in that sort of staggered shot with them coming at camera, and then they cut to, and you've got that light behind them, and it's cutting through space. It looks beautiful. That's not my problem with what they've done with the special edition at all. My problem is that there's a shot where Turlo's holding the glowing crystal, and they've added this swirl effect over his hand, and I'm like, why? Like, this doesn't exist in any other part of the Black Guardian trilogy. It doesn't exist in Modern Undead. It doesn't exist in Terminus. It doesn't even exist in the first part of this story. So why is it now? And it's a weird effect. I like the fact that they added the effect to the dissolve for the Black Guardian, so it's not just a crossfade. So there is an effect there, so it just sort of ripples out. The additive effect that they added to the glow of the White Guardian, I would have corrected that on the set because there's no reactive lighting on the set. So it was to me, it was a bit of a waste to spend your time adding this special effect over the top when what you should have done is added reactive lighting to the set walls, because otherwise it just looks like you've just taken something like this and just stuck something on top of it as opposed to integrating it actually into the footage. But these are small gripes. Out of all Doctor Who of the classics, this was the one that they souped up to the point whereby the idea of editing it to match modern editing and sharpen it up and to make it feel like a feature is one that I'm on board with. Again, this is taking a special. It's what I like with these Doctor Who special editions is that the idea behind it is to make it feel, like here's the original and here's what we've done with it. But you can watch either. You can pick and choose, and that's always a win for me. Because it doesn't matter. How can you complain about it then? How can you say, oh well, they've only given us the special edition. They haven't. You've got a choice. Next week we are doing Macro Terra. Smile on my face. I know what's coming. So it's the animated version because we have it on Blu-ray, and I'm really looking forward to doing that again.
Are we doing color or black and white?
I'm going to be doing it in color.
Okay, no.
So yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's everything that I think that they should do with the originals that are missing. If you're going to keep doing cartoon versions, again, for me, I would remake them. There's no reason why they can't. They've got the scripts there. The scripts aren't lost. They're still in the archive in the BBC. But the animation has gotten better and better and better. And with the first time I sat down and watched Macro Terra, it's my favorite Doctor. It's a decent, solid enough story, and I think they pulled the board out with the animation on that. And that's when we're going to leave that. Following Macro Terra, then this is one for Chris. The week after that, we're going to be doing Day of the Dalek special edition.
Uh-huh.
And you haven't seen that.
I haven't. It's been sat there for a couple of months now. I've seen the original serial.
Yeah.
But I've never watched the special edition. I've been saving it. So
I'm really happy as well because I know what's coming, right? And the thing is with Day of the Dalek special edition, is that it is, for me personally, how you do it right. Like, I don't mean just how you, like, like I just said, they offer you the special edition. You can either watch the special edition or the original, right? With Day of the Daleks, I don't think you can watch the original, because I think they've done the special edition so bloody well that you can't go back and watch the original because it doesn't make sense to. There's so many things done, and not everything lands. There are a couple of effect shots that I would still go, oh, they could improve on that. But what they did do well, they absolutely nailed. I mean, we talking. They walked up to George Lucas and gone, see, that's how it's done right. And I mean, like, they did do. They actually went out to the original locations, reshot new footage. I have never heard of that ever being done before. Like, ever. I've never heard of somebody going, you know what we're going to do? We're going to redo this film. But we're going to make new footage to put into it. And we're going to refilm whole scenes just so that it looks better. And by the way, you're going to do it from a story that's 40 years ago. And it looks amazing. And it everything that didn't work. What I like with Day of the Daleks is that they didn't change anything that was in the script. So whatever it says in the script, that's what they did. You know, there wasn't a point whereby they were like, oh, let's just do this and make it fancy. Like, again, what they did in Enlightenment, where they added visual effects, like that stupid grate effect, where he's looking through that grate on the floor, and they've added that sort of ripple effect and swirl. They don't do any shit like that. It's just, does it say that to do that in the script? Nope, we ain't doing it. What they've added in is effects that just makes you just go. And I tell you what, it wasn't until after I'd watched the special edition, when I went back and watched the original, did I realize that some of the effects that they had put in were actually effects. So it was like, I didn't notice that before. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it, because it's been a long time since I've watched the special edition of that as well. Following that, then we have got Scream of the Shalka and Edge of Destruction. Is it? No, Scream of the Shalka. Yeah, Scream of the Shalka is the next one after that. Then we've got Edge of Destruction and Infinite Quest. Following that, we've got Attack of the Cybermen. And following that, we've got Paradise Towers. Oh, well.
When we get to Paradise Towers,
Yes.
just think current TARDIS interior and everything will be fine.
But my real problem with Paradise Towers is that you've got Richard Bryars shooting for the moon, and everybody else is just acting like it's normal. I mean, it's Richard Bryars, man. Like, it's Richard Bryars. How can you? Oh God! How can you let this guy do what he's doing and then undercut him in his? Oh, it's painful. And then you've got the pissing. Oh, no, it angers me. It actively angers me.
Is your stream on YouTube monetized? Because I've got a feeling if it is, you're going to lose some for swearing during that.
Look, Paradise Towers has some nice ideas in it, right? It really, 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 really does. It's just to be honest with you, it reminds me of a 2000 AD story. You know, there's this giant, huge block of building that is a self-contained city in this building. It's a city inside a building. That's what it is. And on these different levels have all these different, things. It's just, it doesn't work when your bad guy is this fascist, Naziist type that is playing it big, and it becomes laughable. And then you've got the actual villain behind it all then, and you're just like, oh, I can't. Why would you even take that seriously? Like it's. Oh God. They got these weird robots that stroll around as well. Let me just have a quick before we go. Because I can't remember. Yeah, so Richard Briers has a there's this thing, I don't know what it is. There's this light in this tube that he steps into, and he's talking. It's got this really sort of deep booming voice, and I can't remember it. It's just not done well. It's just slightly shit. Just to make a correction here as well, the episode with Bertie in is actually Happiness Patrol. That's the one that Doctor Who almost got sued for. It's worth knowing that. Just so you don't have. See, Happiness Patrol is a different sort of Doctor Who episode as well, but it relies on that bloody awful Licorice Allsort man as the foil, whereas with Paradise Towers, which one's the lesser evil? That's the question.
I'm not sure it can be answered.
Oh, because they've got these weird, like how. One of the problems I've got with how because they couldn't build robots. They couldn't build robots scary enough or able to move fast enough to actually make them scary. So let me just open this image first, just before we go. It's getting late, and we got to go to bed. But like, you build a thing like that. You stick it in a pool. How are you supposed to take it seriously? It looks goofy as hell, and then
Looks like the alien from Explorers in that shot.
it's and it's not. I don't think it's the fault of the makers either. Because I think that they had actually just somebody had a remote control like lobster thing, and they just thought, oh, that'd be cool for Doctor Who. But then you have these things in. Yeah. So is there a bigger image? Go for that. So these things patrol around, and they've got this drill on one hand, they've got this cookie cutter on the other hand, they've got this other arm like here, and these things are supposed to have collected and captured people or whatever, and you can walk away from them. Like, you don't have to run. You can walk away from them. Like, and nobody on the production thought, these things are a bit shit. are a bit slow. I tell you what, instead of making them, because they were properly remote controlled robots as well. So even though that's like, oh yeah, that's a really sort of cool thing, does it work? No, because they're too slow. So why you wouldn't turn off the motors and just have to really push the bastard? I don't know. Because at least then you go like, let's make this thing go 3 times as fast. Oh, it just doesn't do it for me. There's there's the creepy moment with the two sisters that turn out to be cannibals. It's a great moment. That I love it. I think it's one of the really good creepy moment. But as for the rest of it, it's a story that just doesn't do any good at all for Doctor Who. Right, that's where I'm going to leave that for this evening. I hope you've had a good night.
I certainly have, mate.
So next week, yeah, Macro Terror, Patrick Troughton. Hey. Lots of good stuff there. Then Day of the Dark Special Edition, Scream of the Shark, Edge of Destruction, and Infinite Quest, Attack of the Cybermen, and Paradise Towers. And that's us done for this week. So I'm going to just say thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully you'll join us next week for the Macro Terror. Take care.
See you later.